Yesterday, something happened to me that I absolutely can't shake off. I can't shake it off. It is absolutely was a life-altering experience. It's one of those stories that I promise you, you're not gonna just be able to pass. You're gonna have to stop for a second and listen to it. And I'm gonna set the scene as best I can so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. It was something that made me grab my chest. And I had a totally different podcast planned today, but I guess the universe saw it differently. Yesterday, Tony and I took a drive. So we are, just so you know who we are, my name is Sharon. My husband is Tony. We moved to Texas 5 years ago to be with our daughter who has two beautiful twins. And we're helping her raise the twins. And every now and then on the weekends, I'm off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Typically, Tony and I try to do things to fill our time. We've been married for 40 years. And every now and then we try to do something to fill our time. And I like to go and on drives. We love road trips. And so yesterday we decided to go and explore a town that's approximately an hour and a half from here. And the town, just to see what was there, see if it was an option for us to move because we're moving next year. And Tony was really exhausted. So we got in the truck and I said I would drive. And I was thoroughly enjoying myself. We have the best song list. And so we play our song list from the genre that we like, which is typically rock and roll and soul. And we play that country too. There's country in there too. I'll play the song list. He put the chair back. He went to sleep. And I was driving down the road, just enjoying. And when I tell you, I was thinking about all you guys. You're never off my heart. And I'm always just thinking about you guys. Oh my gosh, the book hasn't come out yet. They think I'm crazy, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do this. I love this person. I love what was said. We had a crazy morning yesterday in the TikTok live. And I typically will do this. I will Google a house that we want to go look at and we do a drive-by. So we found the house, we did a drive-by. This is what was so cute, you guys. It was a country house and people's chickens were just out in the yard. And it just sort of reminded me like, did the chicken cross the road? What did the chicken do when it crossed the road? It was so funny. So I took my camera out and I was taking pictures of the chicken crossing the road. Tony and I were laughing. It was like back in the woods. He was like, there's no way, girl, you are not getting me to come back here. So it wasn't an option, but it was still a really nice drive. Turned around, we started headed back to town. My phone was dead. And I don't how many times have we done this? My phone was dead. And so I was like, you know what? I'm making this long story longer. So my life is about grief, and I know I'm gonna get there. So my phone was dead. He goes, hey, there was a gas station over there. Stop over there and get a phone charger. So we stopped to get a phone charger. He's like, you know what? Let's fill up the truck. So we fill up the truck. I go inside the store. I get us a couple drinks, something to munch on because we have an hour and a half back. It's starting to rain. It's like 5 o'clock. I wasn't paying attention to any of this, but there was a truck parked in lane 1. She was trying to fill up her truck. We were in lane 4. She was in lane 1. My husband, when I tell you he talks to everyone, he talks to everyone. I was in the store, in the little mini mart getting the stuff. He was the pump she was on wasn't working. She moved over next to us. So she moved from 1 to 3. He starts talking to her. Beautiful woman. He starts talking to her. I come back. I get in the truck. I am not paying attention to any of this because he talks to everybody. When I tell you that, if y'all were around him, he'd be talking to you too. A gentleman comes out the store and heads right for lane 1, and his car's not there. So he starts calling his wife. He starts looking around and he's calling his wife. It was the cutest thing. He couldn't find her, but his truck was right there, but he just thought she left. And he's like, what happened? And so Tony goes, hey, man, she's over here. And they start to converse. And the guy laughs. He's like, oh my gosh, I thought she left. It was so funny. So then I lean into the conversation because all 3 of them are talking. And all 3 of them are talking. So I lean into the conversation. And we all four start to laugh. We were still filling our truck up. Tony put the truck in drive. Um, I saw the guy, and listen to me. There's no thoughts here. I just observed it, and my brain caught it. That was it. I saw him lean in the back of the truck. He went in the ice chest. He pulled out a Bud Light and a sweatshirt. There was no thought, no nothing. I saw it, saw him do it. I was leaning over like this. They got in their car. They drove off. Tony and I laughed about it. We sat and we laughed about it. I think I opened a bag of chips. I couldn't get the phone plug to work. We plugged in the phone, maybe a minute. Driving down the road. It couldn't have been 3 minutes, you guys. It couldn't have been 3 minutes. There was about 9 cars backed up. And I joked because we were in this country town. Oh, look, here's their traffic. Oh, look, here's their traffic. And we laughed about it. Oh, yeah, they've got a ton of traffic. Cars started moving really slow, and we came upon an accident. The woman in that truck, the woman we were just talking to, turned in front of a motorcyclist and killed him instantly. We came upon the scene. I didn't recognize him at first. I just said, I said, "Oh my gosh, Tony, the motorcyclist." I said, "Is he okay? Is he okay?" And he said, "No." And then somebody was like this with their hands over their head, just like, "Oh, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And then I screamed, that's the people, that's the people." And Tony's like, "He wasn't riding a motorcycle, but he kind of got confused." I said, "No, that's the people we were talking to at the gas station." It was the people at the gas station. They hit a motorcyclist. He was lying in the street and he wasn't moving. There were a lot of people that got out of their cars and ran over there. They ran towards them. There was a gentleman running around, and Tony said, "There's a lot of people here. I'm going to keep going." He was lying in the street, not moving. People were already stopping. They were getting out of their cars. We didn't get out. But when I tell you, my heart, my body, my soul all froze at that moment because I knew what had just happened. I knew what had just happened. I knew what had just happened. Both of these families' lives were changed forever. They were forever changed. Their lives were forever changed. There were going to be phone calls. There were going to be phone calls to families. When we passed that guy with his hand over his head, I can't even imagine the shock of what he was thinking. You cannot fake that. There was a child in the backseat of his truck. His life, his wife's life, their child's life have been forever changed. The family of that man that was on the bike, their whole world just split open. Right there. I kept replaying it over and over and over again, and even this morning. Here's the part that I kept replaying over. How normal everything was just moments before that happened. How normal it was. How normal it was for me to be at a real estate open house. Laughing with Tony, just sitting at the real estate open house and the phone rang, and I just answered the phone. How normal it was to be taking my daughter to the airport so she could go see her old boss with her new baby. And the phone rang, and I just answered the phone. How normal it was for Sharon to just call me and say she had a headache. And me saying, "Girl, you better get to the doctor." Everything just prior to our life splitting in two was just normal. It was just normal. You have no idea that your life is about to change in a split second. And that's the thing about life. It doesn't give us warnings. There's no flashing signs. And that sometimes really pisses me the F off. It was just a normal day. I came in here, I did a live. I walked out and Tony and we fooled around with the kids and we got in our car and we left. Everything shifts in a moment. You're standing there pumping gas, thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner. And then grief walks in on the scene. And it mostly doesn't come in quietly. It doesn't ease in. It's not like a black smoke that you just breathe in. It crashes in out of nowhere. It takes you by surprise. For anybody who's listening to this who is grieving, you already know that instant. It is an instant. And you know that that moment divided your life into two parts. That guy standing there with his hand on his head, his life split into the before. Before that happened, he was laughing with a couple at the gas station. And that's what I saw yesterday. Two families entering the split on opposite sides. Two families entered the split on opposite sides. Driving past the scene, I felt something I could barely explain. Like I turned in my seat. I just turned in my seat, and my brain just did what the grieving brain does. It just like, it started running through all the scenarios. I mean, I literally grabbed my chest, and Tony kept repeating the same thing over and over again. Where's the ambulance? He kept saying, "Where's the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? How come we don't see the ambulance? I don't hear an ambulance. I don't hear an ambulance." There was a kind of sorrow that hit both of us. We drove in silence for a very long time. I just kept replaying the thing over and over again. And then I looked at him and I said, "What if we had talked to them for 1 minute longer? What if what if I had joined in the conversation? What if we had talked to them for 1 minute longer?" The what ifs, the whys, they hit you immediately. They're both split, right? For the man who caused the accident, I don't know what's gonna happen to him. We didn't stay around, so I'm not sure. Did he open the beer? I don't know. Remember, I have no thought on that. I'm just telling you, my brain just observed it. Tony never saw it, only I saw it. And for both families are gonna wake up today knowing that their lives inside have a new reality. Grief does this strange thing. It teaches us to see beyond the right and wrong, beyond the blame and the guilt. We've got to be open to that. We've got to be open to the fact that we can't start pointing fingers. Nobody wins here. Nobody wins, everybody loses. And when you've been the one living through your own grief, you can't help but see the humanity in all of this when we see another person's story. I I'm doing my best to hold this without trying to fix it. I think the biggest thing that I got out of here is that split second. And my heart hurts for everybody, you guys. My heart hurts for everybody because it's the worst fucking split second in the world. It's the worst. The part that really won't leave me is his face, his hands on his head, the disbelief, the instantly knowing that his life has changed. My life has changed forever. And he was shaking his head. He was going, no, no, no. He wanted to take it back. He wanted it to go back. And we have all been there. You can't unsee it and you can't unlive it. It makes us realize how fragile everything really is. We all live like there's time. We live like we have all of this time. We don't have any time. We think we have time to call them back. We think we have time to apologize. We think we have time to tell them we love them. We think we have time to say, I'm so sorry. We think we have time to forgive them. I just need to get this fixed and then it'll be done. We think we have time to slow down. Time is a liar. It's lying to all of us. There isn't time. Life happens in real moments, quick, messy, unplanned moments. It happens. And when it shatters, all the words you didn't say come screaming forward in the forefront of your mind. I'm telling you, grief is an emotional experience that takes place in your heart. Grief is the unsaid communication of an emotional nature. I don't know what the precious soul on that motorcycle, what his family still needed to say to him. I know what I want to say to the people that were driving the truck. Forgive me that I didn't talk to you longer. Forgive me that I didn't engage and make that conversation longer. If you're listening right now and any of this is making sense and you're holding on to any guilt, any regret, anything that you never got a chance to say, please let this story remind you there's still time if your person is alive. Use that time. Who of you is holding on to regret? Who of you is holding on to a forgive that you've never given? Who of you is holding on to an apology that needs to be said? Do not wait for a tragedy to wake you up. Here's what I want you to take from this. Life is fragile and it's short. It is short. This is not a cliche, but a fact. It is absolutely a fact. And for you to sit here and think it won't happen to you, I'm here to tell you you're lying to yourself. It happens to us all. Every single breath is a grief. Every single breath is a gift. I got to stop saying grief. Every single breath is a gift. And we forget that until something takes that breath away. My 10-year-old nephew drowned at the lake on Father's Day weekend, and my breath was taken away. Grief is a great equalizer. It doesn't care about your income, doesn't care about your race, your faith, your good intentions, your political beliefs. It doesn't give a shit. It hits, and it hits hard. And it also makes us softer, more awake, more human. And this pain connects us all. It connects us all, even though we don't know each other. We can all come to a room and share intimate moments of our lives with strangers that we've never seen before, never talked to before, because we have one string that connects us. And it was that split second, that moment. We think grief separates people. There's me that's grieving and everyone else, but that's an illusion because every single one of us are grievers. Every person you pass on the street is carrying something you can't see. Every single person has a story. And if I've ever tell you that before, I have never learned it till before I became a grief specialist. Everybody has a fucking story that they're dying to tell. Everybody has a story. And don't you dare stand in judgment of them. Yesterday proved that to me again. And because you have empathy doesn't mean you have to be in agreement. You don't have to agree, but you can have empathy. It means understanding every life, every mistake, every loss matters. Everything matters. If it matters to you, my friend, it matters to me. And we don't get to stand in judgment on what someone's grief is doing to them. How dare us we stand in judgment? It changes in a split second for every single one of us. And I'm going to tell you something else. It's the moment you'll never forget. It is a moment you'll never forget. Where were you on 9/11? Where were you during the Oklahoma bombing? Maybe some of you weren't alive, but when I'm saying this, you will absolutely remember. Where were you on January 6th? We remember where we were that day that we found out. Where were you when Austin died? I remember every moment about it. Where were you the day Sharon said she had a headache? Two families tonight will never be the same. We will never be the same. One will grieve a death, the other will grieve what they did. And that's what grief does. It shows up in every form imaginable. And no one is untouched. If you haven't been touched by grief, more power to you, sister. But I'm telling you, it's coming. It is absolutely coming. When we got home, Tony and I couldn't sit. It was just, we were still talking about it. The images wouldn't leave our brain. This morning, I got up to go to the restroom. It was 3 a.m. And Tony was sitting up in the bed like this with his hand on his head, sitting on his pillow. I just ignored him. I walked past. And when I came back out, I got back in the bed and I just said, "What?" And he said, "I can't stop thinking about those people last night." And we've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. When I got home last night, I couldn't stop. Tony and I were talking about it. And then I went and came in this office and I sat in silence by myself. And I just allowed myself to feel it. No explaining, no fixing, just breathing and just having a moment of silence and allowing the ache to be in. And then I said a prayer. I prayed for all of them. Not the neat Sunday kind of prayer, but a raw prayer in the middle of my chest. For the man in the motorcycle, for the couple in the truck, and for that little girl whose life is forever changed. The trajectory of her life has changed in that split second. Both families who will have sleepless nights. Maybe this is what grief keeps trying to teach us. To love harder, to love in the now, to love in the now, to talk in the now. Maybe it's trying to teach us to drive slower, to forgive quicker. I don't know, because none of us know this conversation. None of us know the conversation we're having will be that last conversation. If you're listening and your heart feels heavy, let it. That's the part of you that's still capable of compassion. Don't shut it down just because it hurts. The ache in your heart is proof that it still works. Grief knows what it's doing. It knows what it's doing to your heart. We cannot stop bad things from happening. We never will be able to. I can't. I'm pretty sure you can't. But we can choose how we show up when they do. And today, I chose to show up. Last night, I chose to show up honestly with a heart that remembers both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. And maybe before you go to bed tonight, you're going to take a breath and you're going to think about the people you love and you're going to say something in your heart. Maybe you're going to say something to your person that you lost. Say the things that you've been meaning to say. And if you're thick in the grief, I want you to know there's space for you here at the Grief School. There is space for you here. Come and sit with us. Come heal with us. Click on the link in the show notes. Click here for hope. Start processing the pain of your grief. Start the class processing the pain of grief. You don't have to carry this alone. I promise you, you don't have to carry this alone. Friends, if you are grieving and the holidays are coming and you are freaking out about the holidays or you're scared about the holidays and you're nervous about the holidays, click here for hope and see my holiday class that's coming up titled Holiday Grief Care Plan. We're putting that together. Click the link and take a look at it. I love you, friends. Thank you.